Hey, what's up? Rafael Cortez here, back on the Wholesaling Inc. podcast and the Wholesaling Business Blueprint. I sit down today with Anthony Niro out of Tampa, Florida. I mean, he's been crushing it for the last. Check this out. He just got started in wholesaling about 3.5 months ago, and right now, I mean, we're having a conversation just before we got started on the recording, and it would have taken him the sale of $1 million property to make what he's made in 3.5 months in wholesaling. So I want to tap into that. I want to break down the journey. He's got massive stuff in the pipeline, massive results. And Anthony, thank you so much for stopping by, bro. Glad to have you.
Thanks for having me. Absolutely, man. Thanks for having me.
So you got started 3.5 months ago in wholesaling. Before then, you had your real estate license and you primarily focused on traditional sales, right? So tell me a little bit about you, how you got started in real estate first off, and then how that transitioned into your wholesaling business. What made it all happen?
Okay. I was 19 years old. I just graduated, high school. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know what direction to take. I had a friend of mine say, Anthony, why don't we just go ahead and get our real estate license? Mm-hmm. And so I said, why not? That sounds pretty cool.
Wow. Yeah.
How much is that going to cost? Nothing. So it was like, no risk, just get into it. He didn't follow through. He had another opportunity. I stuck with real estate. I joined Keller Williams, pretty large brokerage, got trained up, started just learning how to kind of, really navigate through that career. And so I, right out of out of high school,
you were 19 years old when you started in traditional real estate. How old are you now?
Yeah. I'm 27 years old now. Mm-hmm. And so for me, I was just the type of person that I was like 134 pounds when I graduated high school. I was tiny, I had long hair and, I never really pushed myself. I was always, the type of person to just do whatever, was convenient or whatever I like to do. I never pushed through that barrier of, I'm tired of this now. I don't want to do this. I don't want to go to practice today. That kind of like attitude when I grew up playing baseball, it's like, pushing yourself through that discomfort. I never did that. So I quit everything early. And so that's kind of where I started. And, I stumbled my way through it. I had some success. I did fairly good. And then, about 2 years into that, I took a door-to-door job through a church that I was attending at the time. And somebody shared their little testimony about how they had a good experience with the summer. They have a summer job they do. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, that sounds really cool. I like that. And I also, I feel like door-to-door sales is going to help me to get better at closing deals and stuff.
Break out of the shell type of stuff. I'm telling you, man, I'm telling you, door-to-door sale, it takes a different type of character to break into that and to do it successfully. It just puts you in the spot. I mean, it cuts the fat out of everything. At the end of the day, we want to have, one-to-one conversations with people, and door-to-door. I mean, that's what we push, driving for dollars at the beginning. It really, besides getting you in front of people real fast, it builds that thicker skin that you need to have to thrive in an industry such as real estate, especially real estate investments in wholesaling.
I truly feel like it's essential. I really feel like, especially if I'm going to build up a team and stuff, which I want to do, I'd like for my guys.
The process of, by the way, yeah.
Yeah, I know we're already getting just inevitably. It's just kind of like falling into place.
It's a blueprint.
I like for them to experience a summer going door to door. It's life changing. It changed my life. Mm-hmm. It's changed everything. I learned how to talk. Before, I didn't know how to talk. I didn't know how to influence, people. I didn't understand the practicality, I guess, behind communicating, right? So the steps to have a balance, to make sure there's not too much benefits versus they say, what's the catch, right? Mm-hmm. So I learned to have that strategy. I learned that strategy when it went to door to door. So that changed my life, and I took that back into real estate. But long story short, what happened for wholesaling, I got back from that job. Ran into my now wife at a bar, and we were not doing so good, dude. We were in a really dark place, drinking, spending all my money at the bar, drugs. I mean, it was a bad situation. I actually knew this girl though when I was 13. She was my sensei in karate.
What?
And she was my dream girl. I always would say, God, if I could marry anybody, please let it be Brandy. I want to marry Brandy. Right?
Wow.
And I run into her. Yeah, I ran in there at the bar. We kept in touch, during that time. Not often, but like once a year or so, we talk. And I ran into her again at this bar. We like, let's make something of this. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And she was on board with it. But dude, we just had so many problems. And sorry for the background noise. I got a contractor in my office.
Fine.
Long story short, dude, we were in such a dark place. Only God could take us out. She was looking at like 10 years sentence in jail, a lot of heavy drug use, dude. And we surrendered our life to Jesus all over again. We said, you know what, God, I can't fix this. I know it's life or death. It's all or nothing. And so we surrendered everything, got married within 3 days, and, just committed to honoring God with our life. So we're not going to do that. And we're not going to live like this anymore. And I need you to change us. Your heart is a powerful thing. Whatever you fix your heart on is ultimately going to dictate, who you are as a person. Our lives changed so radically that I got my license to sell real estate again, came back into the marketplace, right? So I quit my job. We came back into working again, and you can't do that with a halfway work ethic. God does not, right? A work ethic is pretty essential when it comes to honoring God. And so, what I began to appreciate was, if I could put this work ethic into wholesaling, I could create such massive wealth in such a faster amount of time that I couldn't do with real estate. I mean, I could scale that business, but I would have to work twice as hard. I would have to, spread myself so much further thin to create the same revenue. And so I started to appreciate the fact, like you just mentioned, I made 20 grand off a $200,000 property. I would have had to sell a $1 million property to have that same kind of a check. And that's a hard market to tap into.
Let me not bypass that 20K, 23K spread on that one deal. You kind of
23.
Yeah. You cut through the conversation, but it's a 23K, $23,000 in a period of 3.5 months. And you're learning through, you're learning the process, right? You're going through the steps, but you're also getting paid, and you're having, this reality come at you. I mean, that's incredible, man. It's incredible. And it's a big testimony to the change that you've been able to produce in your life. And I'm not saying just because of the vehicle of wholesaling, but because of the mental space and the spiritual space that you've taken throughout this whole process. You really turned your life, 180 from being in a dark space to being in a space of contribution and giving. Because I mean, I know we have those conversations on a regular basis. I mean, you uphold moral standards, and I think it carries on in the conversations that you're having with your sellers, and really the way that you manage stuff. So I mean,
absolutely,
that's a level. I think it's a level of faith. I mean, you're talking about having this blind, almost like blind trust and blind faith, right, in spirituality.
100%.
But when you do it in how you do one thing is how you do everything, right? When you do it in one area of your life, it's going to spill over to the rest. So whatever that looks like to you, having faith, right, in massive faith in an area of your life is going to carry on to the next, which is in this.
And you pick
that's wholesaling. Yeah.
That's why I shared it. I feel like a lot of people don't understand. They don't understand. I wouldn't have understood it, had I not gone through that experience in life. I would have sit here and wondered, why is it so difficult for me to have success or get anywhere? I know so many people that struggle with having breakthrough financially, that just, they don't have the mindset. They can't seem to get past that glass ceiling that's over them. That realizes, you can create millions of dollars, a lot of money in revenue fairly quickly, in a short amount of time, say before 30 years old,
Yeah.
And people just don't, I feel like a lot of people, at least in my experience, they don't really understand the importance of the background, that foundation that you have to have established, that I'm willing to work through and push through these hard challenges, because it's essential. If you're going to be an entrepreneur, you have to be able to walk on water, so to speak, like in faith, right? You step out of the boat and just believe that it's going to work, and have that rootedness. And so my cousin, he's in the background, he's working with me. We're crushing it, dude. It's amazing how
now you're a two-man team, right?
Yeah. He wasn't happy with his job. And I'm like, dude, just come on, work with me, bro. Like this stuff works, dude. And he's like, yeah, all right, I'll do it. You know, he had a savings account, so it worked out for him. He's like, what's the worst that could happen, right?
Yeah.
And lo and behold, man, we're already in like, you know, 2 weeks worth of hard work and consistent effort, you know, have enough money in the pipeline generated right now that's going to be closing soon to triple like his income that he would have had. You know what I mean?
That's insane, man. And it's, again, it goes back to, you know, to the testimony of what effort means, right? 100%, you know, getting into it and getting committed. I just put out a short video on the difference between commitment and interest. When you're interested, you know, you get to a certain point, it'll push you, it'll get you to go to seminars and take classes and whatnot, right? So you'll learn a little bit. But when you're committed, like that's when the real change happens. You got to be all in, right? And that's exactly what you did. I remember the conversations even at the beginning that, you know, there was confusion. How does this conversation, you know, how do I speak to the sellers? What kind of script should I, you know, go over, and how do we structure the offers? And we were getting caught up in some of those banana peels. But you know, you stuck through it and gave it enough time for the thing to work. And then what happens now? You actually have a business framework in place. Now the foundation of your business is there, and you're plugging more resources and people into it. So I love it, man. I love it,
dude. It's so easy. It's the easiest job you could do, brother. I mean, I've been door to door. You know, I've had the door slammed on my face, and I've had somebody pull a gun, you know, on me. As far as like, you know, get off my property, that kind of. It's like, I mean, I've been treated like pretty bad. That was the easy part of the job. The hard part was that I had to knock on doors for literally 10 hours a day. They dropped me off in a neighborhood, you know. Yeah. The work ethic that these guys would put out in the summer job, man, you know, is just something I've never. It broke me. You know, I tapped out like halfway through it. I continued, I finished it, but I didn't put that same effort in. I made a ton of money within like the first 2 months. And then I was like, I've never made this much money. I don't really care about it anymore.
It's a breakthrough point, right? Yeah.
Yeah. No. But when it comes to this, man, I'm in the office, I'm making my calls, you know, I'm in AC. It's like, how much easier can it get? You just take all the stress off and just say, you know, I'm here to have fun. I want to enjoy this job. And it's just an incredible thing. I love it. We're actually blessing people, you know, we're helping them.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think that there's a connotation, there's a stigma to wholesaling, right? People think that wholesaling is this strategy to come in and then steal properties from people and whatnot. But no, like the people that we actually go after in order to, you know, form a solution for them, they're not able to sell their property retail for some reason. I mean, that's what happens, really. We come in and then we have a discovery process to find a solution for, you know, whatever problem they're having. And a lot of the times is, you know, yeah, we have the typical distress property, but you also have like circumstantial distress. They don't have the timeline to put the property up on the MLS, and like finding those people, those sellers that are actually, you know, gonna benefit from the sale. It's what creates a win-win, man. It's not
100%.
Yeah. I mean, it takes a path, right, to get there. The path has been carved. But when you understand that much, the flip just switches inside your head, and it goes from like, wow, I am providing a solution. This is what I'm doing. I'm trying to create a win-win here between, you know, them and us. They win because I solved their problem. I win because, you know, we start growing towards financial stability and financial freedom. So I love it, man. Let's break down the deal. So you had a $23,000 deal close. Now, again, you started in wholesaling 3.5 months ago. And what happens the first few weeks, even the first couple of months, is that we start stacking. And I kept talking about stacking the follow-ups, the leads, stacking the results. You're not going to see it happen within the first couple of weeks. You just have to work, and then get it, and, you know, set up your follow-up, set up your process, your system, and then kind of go in and get into the whole groove of how the machine works. And then what happens is that you start stacking the results, right? You start stacking the conversations with the sellers, and then stacking the deals in the pipeline, and then boom, they all start popping. They all start popping, and that's what happened. When the first one goes, which was a $23,000 deal for you, it all becomes real, right? We keep saying.
I remember telling you, I was like, Coach, I mean, I'm happy to make $1,200. You know, I'll just get this property dispoed. Dude, it was life changing. I've never made that kind of money in one check.
I will not let you settle for $1,200.
I had 3 other deals that I locked up, and I overbought them. Right, I locked them up too high. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you the truth, Coach. What happened is you told me on a coaching program, you're like, dude, this market is so intense. Lock everything up you can. Just lock it up, right? And those words are running through my mind because I couldn't figure out exactly what I could sell this property for. It was hard to comp, and he kept pushing me on the purchase. He kept coming up. I'm like, dude. So I'm always, if we can do this, I'm gonna need you to. I knew I could do it, right? But you always have to have the balance. So if you can give me access to the property, and we can close quickly. Let me text my coach and see if we're willing, or I didn't say coach. Let me text my partner and see if we can do it, right? So I pull one of those things out, and so I lock it up, right? And because I had 3 other deals. I had one deal that I locked up, and I did what do you call it? What do you call an option agreement on it? And man, somebody came in and just bought it right out from underneath me quickly, and I realized, oh man, I have to trust. I need to have more confidence in my comping abilities.
Trust the process.
And so from that point on, I'm like, I'm locking this stuff up. So I lock it up, right? And sure enough, man, $23,000 spread on the deal. I'm like, wow, this is incredible.
It is. It's truly amazing. And the thing about it, you did it once. Now you know how to do it again, right? It's not. There's no discrepancies as to like, okay, cool. How did I get started? What was the first step I took? Man, I gotta like reimagine this whole thing again. No, like you already have a process in place because we've been building out the whole machine throughout the last 90 days. So
I just signed another purchase contract 2 hours, like an hour ago.
I'm telling you, man. Seller. I am telling you. I mean, you're totally crushing. An hour ago, you said?
Yeah, over the phone from a lady in Canada.
Insane. This $23,000 lead, how did you find it? What kind of a campaign did it come from?
This was on a L.E.S.S list. So I follow the coaching program, right? It's step by step, right? I love the idea that you make it, this is what you do. Follow the steps, follow the program, and you'll get results. So I love that. So that's what I'm doing. I'm following the steps. We'll pull our list. We're doing code violations, tax violations, whatever you call them, right? Liens, probates. So I go to my county office here, my courthouse. I ask for probates. I ask for code violations. I ask for pre-foreclosures. The whole, the whole 9 yards. I get everything.
That action right there is really, it's really one of those things that will set you apart. Not a lot of people, again, commitment versus interest, right? People are interested in closing a wholesale deal. People are interested in owning their own wholesale business, right? But are they committed? Do they have the commitment to actually go physically, and pull a list that's going to be harder to get than the average list that you can just pull from anywhere?
I had to upload it into an Excel sheet. That's an extra step. Most people aren't really. I had to learn how to use Excel.
Yeah.
I'm like, as I'm doing it, I'm like, I know for a fact most people aren't willing to do this. Dude, I was so annoyed by the whole process. I was like, there's got to be a way to do this.
Yeah.
But, I'm telling myself, I bet you most people aren't willing to do this.
Right.
So I'm like, it's going to be a good list.
So you went in person, you pulled that list, you built that relationship with the lady at the city, and then you skip traced it, right?
That's right. I went in there just, optimistic, nice, right?
Yeah.
Pleasant. And I said, hey man, I asked the guy
$100,000 smile.
Yeah. I said, this is what I'm trying to do. I'm working with some investors, and we work with a lot of distressed property owners that need help, getting out of their property. So I'm trying to pull a list of distressed property owners. How can you help me to target those properties? Yeah. And so he started to name the criteria. He's like, you're going to need this, that, and the other. Like,
wow,
you probably don't want to target these properties. You know what I mean? So he starts helping me. And he provides the list, all just because I was, nice.
Well, you're a genuine dude. And that goes a long way.
That's right.
Yeah. So you get this list, and how you skip traced it? Did you go door knock on this? Did you cold call it? Did you direct mail? What was it?
I hook up this system, right? The office with the tools. So I got the dialer in place. I got the skip tracing, that's going. Everything's batch leads. I'm staying with batch. I stay with batch across the board. Dialers are annoying. They really annoy the heck out of me, but I think it's the price you pay. Batch is phenomenal. They do everything in one. They make it so easy. I just found out yesterday I could forward my leads into my CRM. I didn't know.
Push them over. Yeah.
For like 3 months. Yeah.
Yeah.
Push them right over with the button. I'm like manually putting them in there. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I could press a button and do this. So I'm still learning it, you know? And so, yeah, I got the systems in place. I set up our campaign. We're power dialing. Robert, actually, my cousin, I think he had made the call. We pre-recorded a voicemail. They start dropping in on, you know, all these no answers. This guy gets one of my voicemails and calls me back and says, you know, what can you offer me for the home? I think I'm ready to sell it. He wasn't actually in a distressed scenario. He lived in a mobile home it was a mobile home, a manufactured home, but it was on a lakefront property.
Oh, okay. So the deal was an actual mobile home. A lot of people just, you know, scratch those off because they're mobile homes. But I mean, we've had some massive deals on mobile homes.
I just put one under contract an hour ago that I have like a $30,000 wholesale opportunity with.
Oh, wow.
Or I could just dispo it for 10. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, this is what's crazy to me. You started 3.5 months ago and you're talking about option agreements, which are like different strategies and closings. I know we talk about creative financing and all that stuff, but now you're like, you're having conversations about wholesaling. You see how big, like the perspective just kind of, you know,
explosion.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, that's what's so beautiful about having, you know, the opportunity to build your business and run it as such.
Life changing.
Yeah, well, because you're taking it there, right? At the end of the day, all the actions are yours. We just have there's a blueprint in place. You're following the steps, but the actions and the merit really is yours. It's that commitment, it's that tenacity. It's you jumping in all in and then giving it 100%, and then bringing somebody else in to
you're so right, dude.
Big picture with you. I mean, it's in my eyes, man, it's amazing. It's amazing to have the opportunity to change a life and then bring it 180 to a space where you're thriving and you're happy and fulfilled. So I love it, man.
Yeah.
So you come in and then you skip trades, you cold call. The guy was what was the issue with the guy? How did you negotiate the deal?
I get him on a liens list because he had a tree fall through his roof. He got it replaced, went through, you know, county, like a government loan situation. In any case, it showed up as a lien. I'm getting a lot of these, actually. They're not real liens. This one guy refinanced, or actually, no, he did the same thing, put a new roof on. So he got on my liens list. He's like, I'm not in a distressed scenario. So I'm actually meeting a lot of sellers that aren't necessarily distressed, but are considering the convenience for speed and equity.
Are those? I mean? Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Are they having mechanic liens on them?
No, I don't really know, to tell you the truth. I'm not sure what exactly it is, because
so for example, I want to just kind of clarify that a bit. For sometimes if you pull a liens list, right, it's going to cover all kinds of liens. What happens sometimes, like if a property gets work done, say the roof, like this guy, and I don't know if that's the case with them, but the roof gets done and then they end up not paying the roofer. The roofer now has the ability to put a lien on the property because he hasn't gotten paid, right? They have to prove, and they go through this whole process, but now there's a recorded lien on that property. And like if it's a contractor, somebody comes in and works on the plumbing, and they put a lien on your property, it's not, those are called mechanics liens. So it might be something that's there. It may not feel like a distress situation, but there's still something that's lingering on top of that, that's clouding the title to that property, right? And it's an extra step that some people just don't know how to come in and solve.
Okay. Yeah. What this one did was, this scenario was, they made payments on the roof, and so therefore there was a lien on it.
Got it.
They put a lien on it. You know what I mean?
Cool. Okay. So yeah, they had they recorded a lien, and then they had a payment arrangement set.
Exactly. Makes sense. Okay, this guy, he's got a lien, right? I call him, I leave him a voicemail. He calls me back. We set up an appointment to see the property. I'm always trying to get face-to-face with sellers. My goal is to just get face-to-face. I'll go through the 4 pillars. I've been learning that. I didn't do that initially. So I go through the 4 pillars, right? And make sure the appointment's vetted, or like, a solid one.
4 pillars.
4 pillars.
Yeah.
Sorry, I probably should explain. I'm trying to be quick. Sorry. 4 pillars, right? Price, motivation, timeline, and what was is that it?
Pop quiz. Condition.
Condition. Oh, dang it. Robert's better at it than I am.
Pop quiz.
Yes. So the four pillars: condition of the property, the motivation, how much they want for it and how quickly they want to close.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I ask the golden question every time now that says, listen, you know, you can put it on the market, and I know it's more time and energy, you know, but you can get more for the property. Have you thought about that? And well, yeah. And, you know, they tell you why they don't want to do that. And I'm like, okay, this is a solid, you know, appointment now. So I'm going to go on this appointment and have a real conversation about selling the property.
It's amazing what transparency gets you, man. I've seen it in the past where people want to get super sketchy. They don't want to, you know, just have that real conversation with sellers, and sellers can smell the BS a mile away. If
we're not talking,
be completely transparent and, you know, be there for the problem solving part. The money part is going to get handled by itself if you take care of the problem solving part.
So right? True, dude. Exactly right. Exactly right. And if that's your approach, you'll succeed. If you're thinking you're going to try to scrape by and make, you know, kind of have that attitude, you're just going to be a struggle. That's why I like the idea of addressing the heart, you know, like the heart issues at the outset, you know, having a foundation, looking inwardly and seeing yourself as, because it's more than just a business and succeeding, you know, and making money. This is about creating a life and, you know, like a family and, you know, a future has a solid foundation. So when, you know, pressure comes, you know, we don't have all of this emotional stuff that's going to wreck us. Mm-hmm. So anyways, so I call the guy, right? We get a face-to-face. And so long story short, he wants to, net a certain amount. And I go through the comps with him, and he knows what his property's worth if he puts it on the market. He likes the idea that I'll give him 60 days of occupancy. So I offer that to him, and, we put it under contract.
There it is. I mean, that'll set you apart. You coming in and that's not something that probably an agent would give them. Somebody buying retail. No, they're buying retail, right? They want to get them, you know, the heck out of there right at the close of escrow date for the most part. Right. And you know, a lot of other wholesalers, they just have no idea that, you know, they haven't had that conversation about post occupancy, and that will set you apart. A lot of, you know, it may not be, maybe, they're pushing the price up and everything, but that's not going to be the thing. The thing in this case, whenever you have a post-possession thing or benefit, right, from your side, it's timing. All right. They need money, and then they want to figure out what, you know, where to go from there. They can, you know, 2 months and whatnot. And that will make that mental peace come in for them, and then give you the opportunity to get that deal done. Absolutely.
100%. It was everything. It was everything for him. And, you know, now he's like calling me every other day. He calls me too much. This dude does not stop calling me. I'm like, I'm going to have to change my number. Nice guy. Nice, you know, really nice guy. He's an older gentleman and doesn't have, you know, anybody, but he's a character, you know. He's like, I'm going to have to stay out of the casino because I'm all of my money is going to the slots now.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So he calls me preacher dude.
Preacher dude. So, I love it, man. I love it. Well, it's so you got that done. You saw, I mean, you had this conversation with us. I gave him a post-possession, which is really thinking outside the box. I love it. And then you ended up with a $23,000 spread on this deal. Now, the pipeline that you have going forward, I mean, you have multiple deals in the pipeline. Again, that's the power of stacking the results, right? You have multiple deals coming in. You're closing on another one on Friday, and then you have, you know, a couple of others that are already under contract, and, you know, you're looking for buyers for those. Man, it's amazing. Yes. And again, it's a big testimony of what coming in and then giving it, you know, 100% does, right? You when you're commit to something as opposed to just being interested, you can come in and then you can change your life, you know, do a total 180 in a very short period of time.
I wish I would have been braver, you know, to do it sooner. I wish I would have been more hungry, you know, to do it sooner.
Here's the thing though. When would you have been ready for it? I mean, that's a big question.
That's the way I see it. You know, I'm not going to think back.
Would you, for example, if you got hit with this opportunity at 19, would you have seen it for what it is? You know, to have the power to come in, and then, you know, maybe that tenacity wouldn't have been there. Why? Because you're curious about other stuff. You have other concerns. I mean, going to the bar and that kind of stuff that, you know, that was happening early on, right? I mean, you had different priorities, but I think, you know, I don't know. And this might be a little bit out there, right? But I feel like certain things hit us at the right time. Certain things hit us at the right moment. And it's kind of like reading a book. Sometimes you'll pick up a book and you'll read the book and some sections resonate. You come back to the same book a year later and a whole different section speaks to you, right? It's the same thing with opportunities. I think, sometimes we may feel like it took, longer than it should have. But I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that we don't understand. Divine timing. There's so many things in play that sometimes we get hit. I feel like at the right moment, with the right tools.
That's such an important thing to discuss too. I mean, we don't realize how much pressure is put on you by feeling this condemnation. I should have done this. I should have done that. I wish I would have done this or that. You can't live like that. You have to just let these things go. There's a famous Bible verse, Paul says, forgetting those things that are behind me, I press towards the mark of the prize of the high calling in Christ Jesus. For us, God works all things out for the better to those who are called and chosen. His words, it's one of the promises he makes to us. So even if we do make a mistake, only God, dude, it's unreal. Only God can cause these things to actually abound to our benefit. I would love to encourage everybody to open their heart up and ask the Lord to help and to take over, because, for me, that was the greatest thing that's when I began to live. It wasn't until I did that I actually experienced freedom and real truth. And so, it changed everything.
Amazing, man. And that's, that's the reality of things. I think, sometimes again, we get hit, we see things, down the line, we may think that it's taking forever, right? Oh, why didn't I see this 5 years ago? The truth of the matter is I wasn't ready to do the stuff and I'll speak for myself on this. 5 years ago, 10 years ago, I was not ready to commit to the stuff that I'm committing now. So the opportunities are different, but yeah, it's when people say that, I wish I'd seen it years before. It may have been not necessarily a good thing, right? Because we change, we evolve as individuals, and I think evolution is part of the magic that gives us the opportunities that open up in front of us on a daily basis. So I love it, man. Your story is amazing. I mean, it's again, coming in, then switching, doing a complete 180 in terms of emotional well-being, mental fortitude, spiritual fortitude, and then coming in and then creating this space where you feel like you're fulfilled, you're thriving, and you're enjoying every day. I mean, it's massive. And again, it's not a lot has happened in a very short period of time. So let me ask you, what would you say to somebody who's getting started in wholesaling? What's the best piece of advice you can give them?
I would say commit to 3 months of the hardest work you've ever put into anything in your life. You can do anything for 3 months time, right? There's 90 days of
I love it.
90 days of consistent action is anybody can do it. So I would say commit to 90 days, 3 months of consistent hard work. And if you utilize the tools that's why I was so thankful for this program. I didn't even mean to join this program. I was waiting to hear back from another company, and they took so long to get me. I'm like, what? There's got to be another company, you know what I mean, that's doing this. So I Google it, I come across Wholesaling Inc. They call me right away. I'm like, all right. And they work with me. They helped me out a lot because I was not able to put all the money up and everything. So I was just so blessed, man, that I was able to work with this company. And so I'm so thankful that the company didn't call me back right away, because I know factually, after learning a ton, that it's not the same structure. It's not the same, tools and everything like that. And so I stumbled across this, and, my point is that you have the tools, then apply those tools consistently for 90 days. I dabbled in real estate, so I didn't have that consistent effort. I had some deals closing. And so I was like, I'm not so desperate for the work. Again,
that interest versus commitment difference.
Exactly.
Keeps popping up.
But I closed this deal. I have this gigantic check, for me, it's massive. I told you the other day, I went from $20 in my bank account to $23,000, you know what I mean? In a day. And it was enough for me to say, I have enough money to reinvest this into this business. I quit
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm done with real estate. You know, we'll work that out in the future because I'd like to have my brokerage license.
Traditional
and stuff
real
like
estate,
that.
you mean?
Exactly. I want to focus full time on actually investing. I want to actually buy properties. That's what I want to do. So wholesaling is the entry way, you know, the entry point, I guess, to that.
Well, it gets you there. It opens up your thinking, and then you start to, because you have to get creative on getting deals and structuring deals and doing all that. I mean, you get to you start tapping into the groups of people that are going to open up your mindset. It's just, I mean, it's just one thing kind of leads to the other, and then this whole chain of events unravels when you start really getting into it. So
that's exactly right. You said it best. So I couldn't agree more. You tap into a whole world of resources and knowledge that helps you to become an investor. So we watched this gentleman, man, who was also with the Wholesaling Inc. named Zach Booth. He went on a 40-day challenge. He came here to my marketplace in Tampa. He went from Utah to Tampa, and he wanted to turn $1,000 into $40,000. And I watched this guy's testimony. He turned into $100,000 in 40 days. And so Robert and I see that, and we're like, dude, it's on.
It's on. It's happening.
So we set a goal out for 2,000 to turn into 200,000. And like I said, dude, we're still learning a lot. I'm still learning how to use a dialer, and we're already
doing it. You're right in the middle of it. You are actually doing the process. That's the thing.
Exactly. I mean, we're about a week and a half into this, dude, and we've already locked up a purchase contract. We've already created some really good solid leads. So what we've done lately is we've been driving around. We're trying to add 2,000 distressed properties to our dialer a week by driving. So we're just driving. So we'll get out, really early. We'll get started 8:30, 9 a.m. We'll get in the car and we'll start driving. We'll drive till 5 p.m.
So the thing about that list, only you have it. I mean, that's an individualized list. Again, it's going that extra step that not a lot of people are willing to do. Not a lot of people are willing to put themselves out there to drive around and then pull up the properties that are not going to pop up on absentee owner lists. They're not going to pop up on code violations lists. They're not going to pop up on liens. I mean, there's just something about a property when you're driving by it. Maybe a red flag, maybe
a lot of these properties are hard.
You have a burned out car in the garage, in the driveway. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's the stress, right? I mean, that you take that and then drop it into your own particular list. So going that extra mile, committing. Sorry.
A lot of these properties are hard to skip trace.
Yeah.
They've been in the family for so long, they don't have a lot of data on these properties. So I'm noticing I have to actually leave notes on some of the doors because I can't get through to a lot of the sellers.
Yeah.
So untapped markets, like you said. So between that and the list that I've already pulled through the course, liens, code violate, probates, we're calling all these numbers, dude. We'll call till 9 p.m. For 2 days in a row. I have got a lead at 9 p.m. So
wow.
I had an appointment yesterday. I had an appointment yesterday with the lead that I got at 9 p.m. That's a solid opportunity that we're working. And so
I love it, man. I love the fact again that you're in it. You're right in the middle of the trench work. So we don't see that part often, right? Especially on social media type of stuff. I mean, you see the end of it, you see the results. So you see, when they're getting started, and then you see the results. But actually watching the journey it's a different, thing.
So
right?
true. If it's going to be a roller coaster. It's like one of the first things I remember you said on our coaching call. You're like, I love it. It's so funny. You're like, you drop the anchor price, right? And then you just buckle up because you don't know what's going to happen next.
Oh yeah.
It's in a roller coaster. So like you said, dude, there's a lot behind the scenes but you have to get through it. You have to actually experience the whole process of starting to closing and do that a couple times, probably 10 times before you start to really feel like, you become an expert in the field.
Yeah. Yeah. Every deal is going to be different. So, I mean, creativity is always going to play a part in it. The foundations though, I mean, you can rely on some foundations and then a bunch of different principles that you can apply into the business to actually turn it into a business. So, I mean, that's what's so amazing, man. I'm so proud of everything that you've done. It's crazy to see the leaps that you've made over the last 3.5 months. I love being part of your journey and then watching you just crush it on a continuous basis, man. Now, if somebody wants to get a hold of you, and I don't know, have a conversation, JV, or just, pick your brain or whatever, where's the best place for them to find you?
Yeah, we are tearing it up here in Pasco County. I live in Pasco, Newport Richey, Florida. It's Tampa Bay area. We work Tampa, Pinellas County, and Pasco County. So if anybody wants to get on board and work together in JV or whatever, Facebook for me is the only way I really think that they can contact me. So I would just say get on my Facebook page. So it's Anthony Niro, Niro. And I have a business page too, a Niro Capital page as well. So I don't know, whatever's easier. But cool. Yeah, just getting on my Facebook page and shooting me a message, adding me as a friend.
Love it, man. I love it. Thanks for being so transparent and vulnerable and just sharing your journey. And Tribe, so there it is again. If you guys are interested in finding out more about coaching, the Wholesaling Business Blueprint, and going through the program, go to the Wholesaling Inc. website at wholesalinginc.com/WBB. And that's wholesalinginc.com/WBB. And have a conversation with one of our guys. If it makes sense and you guys feel comfortable with it, we can, pull the trigger and start working together. So until then, stay focused. You got this.